Howdy, Banger pals. Blayne Smith joining you for another Overkill Reviews, Banger's weekly metal review show. I understand today might be a little jarring for two reasons. Number one, I'm just filming from home because Daniel is on vacation, so there's no one in the studio to film it. I will be back in the studio again soon. And number two, yes, I got a haircut. I understand that is going to be pretty jarring. Don't worry, it's gonna grow back. I am growing it back. It's over 30 degrees Celsius in Toronto. It's so hot, and every time I'd run or work out, I would just form one giant dreadlock at the back of my head, and I needed that to not happen. In winter, it will be once again long. But speaking of one unusually large dreadlock in the back of your head, we're talking about a crust-influenced death metal band today. Hey, look at that segue, baby. Yes, today we were talking about the new album from Hedenist called Scapulimancy, out today, August 1st, on Southern Lord Records. Hedonist are a death metal band with a crust background formed in 2020 in Victoria, BC, Canada, and... Okay, look, I know what's going on here. You know what's going on here. It's August 1st. It's one of the top 5 worst days of the year to release a record. There is nothing coming out. So, of course, as Banger's resident gremlin, Craig emailed me asking if I had any weird little trinkets and baubles to offer you, and of course I do. So, let's get on with talking about a band you probably haven't heard of, unless you know Iskra. You might know Iskra. Two of the guys were in it. That's neither here nor there. Let's get to the review. I sort of have two jobs here at Banger. There's Metal Monthly Blayne, whose job is to just go out and find cool stuff that you would miss otherwise, like a little hunting dog. Then there's Overkill Reviews Blayne, whose job is frequently to say mean things about big bands' records that everybody deep down can hear, but for some reason pretends they don't. But every once in a while, usually when there's a hole in the schedule, I get to talk about a record that I chose to listen to instead of being punished by the gods. I love my job either way, so no complaints, whatever's going on. So, why was I excited to talk about this death metal record? It says here the vocals, but that simply must be wrong. 1 second. All right, apparently it's the vocals, so I guess I'm talking to you about death metal vocals for an entire section. Normally, you know what type of flavor you're getting served just by reading the type of death metal. Old school, growly scratchy, brutal, piggy wiggy, war, other roomy, blackened, black metally, that one's a little more obvious, melodic, overproduced, and wait, why did this guy just start singing? Well, AJ gives us a little bit of everything except melodic, and I am very cool with that. The record opens with Execution Wheel, and it sounds like we are going to have a party at the pig pen. Same thing goes for next track, Heresy, though it is punctuated by some blackened screams. And then as the record goes on, those stick around, and we do continue to get some of those brutal vocals, but we also get things mellowed out into more old school vocals. Am I describing old school death metal vocals as mellow? I think Sunday has completely cooked my brain. As a reminder, I do look up every single metal album coming out 1 month of the future. Sundays, 4 p.m. Eastern time on twitch.tv/metalcomedy. Anyways, then the whole thing has a bit of a war metal treatment to it in the way the vocals are really buried in the track. Plus, she sings like this. And I think that's great. Look at this photo of it. That's fantastic. Maybe I should start doing all my reviews just straight up. That would be something. Anyways, listen to this great back and forth she has with the guitars on Parasitic Realm. There are lots of concrete reasons to like this record, but because I'm a moron, the one I just want to talk about, it's just really darn cool. The vibes are on point. It is a nice place to be. Despite us being years into this trend of bolt thrower made perfect death metal, we should probably just do that. It still hasn't gotten old, at least to me. Partially because I don't think it's been done into the ground yet, but mostly because that is correct. That is true. So it doesn't get old. We can just keep doing this forever. It's also not as easy to do as some people will make you think it is. Hedonist managed to capture that air of cool that Bolt Thrower created, and that is way more challenging to do than a lot of other things in music. So it is a record mainly rooted in the past, but the vocals I dug so much off the start of the review add a nice modern touch to it that helps shape an identity for the band that's their own instead of just, throwback, even though, again, like I said, we can just keep throwing it back. I don't give them. Making something that sounds new and old is a real tightrope walk that is not easy to do on top of the already not easy thing to do that they are doing. The sound of the record is produced on that same tightrope as well. This thing sounds like it comes from the underground, but there's no rough edges on the sound. The recording quality is great. You can pick out anything you're looking for, but it still retains an organic feel. This is exactly how I'd mix a record if I had any real skills or talents, but I don't, so I'll just talk about it on YouTube and occasionally throw in a joke. I don't have one, but here's a clip of something that I just think sounds cool as hell. Say something negative about the record to retain whatever shred of credibility I have. It is missing some wacky and wild solos. I'd love the haze of the music to be cut through by a nutso whammy bar filled insane little ditty with real clear tone. I just found myself wishing for some like Death Hammer type detaching from reality to grab my attention. It would fit perfectly with the vibe they've created and take this thing to like near perfect record territory. Because as it stands, there isn't really a singular moment on the record that makes me go, oh my God, you have to hear this part. So if you're someone that lives for cool guitar solos, you probably aren't going to find what you're looking for. This isn't to say there aren't guitar solos or they're awful or something. The ones that are on here are enjoyable. They just never cross over into that unhinged territory I'm looking for. I want guitar solos so crazy that they're driving their therapist to seek out therapy. I want guitar solos so crazy that even Republicans are like, maybe that boy shouldn't be able to buy guns. Yes, I want guitar solos so crazy they single-handedly reverse decades of America's lax gun regulations. Only real complaint is don't change anything, just add like 2 or 3 of those in for me. I'm not trying to make a substitution at the restaurant. I just want an extra side with it. I'll pay for it. Don't be making substitutions at the Chinese restaurant unless they know you. That's a tip. That's a tip. If you're a regular, you can do whatever you want. Credibility save. Now, the reason I don't particularly care about this is because it's enjoyable to listen to 100% of the time. What they are lacking in guitar solos, they more than make up for with a bottomless pit of compelling riffs. If there isn't a single moment here to be like, you have to hear this, there also isn't a single moment that I don't want to hear, making its 36-minute runtime feel like half that. The thing just flies by with death metal songs played with a sense of composition of a much senior band. From track to track, there's just a lot of texture and difference, and it just doesn't feel like we're sitting there doing the same thing. And it's not to say this record isn't completely without peaks. The intro to title track Scapulimancy, the band takes a moment off from pummeling you to build some really strong atmosphere. This is a standout moment, but the main reason I can't point to it and go, look at this is sick, is that it hits because it's the middle point of the record. So it's strong because of the sound they've built over the last 5 tracks, just like album closer Hidden Corpse does a great job closing things out if you've listened to the entire thing, which is tricky for me as a reviewer because I can't just play you a whole album and go, see, wasn't it cool when they did that thing? Didn't it fit really well in with the rest of the album? But that means they just made a good whole ass record, and not being able to do this is a thing I am constantly on bands for. Records are not just collections of songs. They are records. They are put in an order and should have a flow and should have take you on a little journey. If I'm choosing between amazing solos and slightly weaker tracks or weaker overall composition and amazing tracks that make an amazing album that are lacking in solo quantity, I'm picking that every time. I want a good record. The solos are a nice bonus. When I listen to metal, I never listen to singular songs. I put on a full album or I don't put on anything at all. This is a full album to be put on, and I will be putting it on for a while. Have a little of Scapulimancy and tell me if it still hits hard enough out of context. You know what else can hit hard? Hunger. And with these grocery prices, how is someone supposed to maintain a delicious, balanced meal? Why not check out chef-curated meals from the Banger Patreon? All our meals are metal content. We're uploading stuff like crazy over there. There's, of course, the tip sheet. You'll have a little August tip sheet from me with 5 more records if Metal Monthly isn't enough records for you. And then a bunch of bonus content. We're uploading pretty much all the Banger archive, full films, new commentary on them. We're just going nuts. So head over there, give us a couple bucks, and I don't need to tell you to buy a meal kit where everything's individually packaged and you have just like a little package with like a sprig of thyme in it. Just buy a whole bunch of thyme, singular sprig. It feels like a while since I've gotten to enjoy some awesome bolt thrower worship, and even longer since I've gotten to enjoy some that carves its own identity. As far as first records go, this is a hell of a start, especially because apparently this is 2 of the band members' first real band, including vocalist / bassist AJ. That is wild. I can't believe that. It's crazy. I really hope this project goes on for years because the best moments of this record feel like they could turn into something pretty darn special. And then Canada would be producing some of the more important, cool, interesting death metal bands over the past while. And I'm not patriotic in any way, but it just means that maybe I'll get to see them live as opposed to bands from Europe that never come here, although they are in Victoria and I'm in Toronto, so there is a gaping maw of nothingness between me and the band. Sorry, middle of Canada. It is what it is. Or instead of becoming a big special band, they could just release more records like this, and I'm pretty chill with that too. I could do with 2 more of these things before they changed like anything at all. So I am giving it 4 out of 5 skulls that are singing straight up like that. Anyways, what did you think of the record? Did you like it? Have you heard of them? Have you heard of Iskra? Give the record a listen. Please give it a check out. Support underground metal. And before we go, of course, even August 1st, I have a shout out for you. So yes, it is shoutouts, but of course it is August 1st, so I only have one shoutout. And boy, howdy, how am I going to tie my other shout out to a crust influenced death metal? But wait, this is a crust influenced death metal band in the shout out too? What are the odds? It's Victim of Fire, The Old Lie, Human Future Records. It comes out today, August 1st. It is a great record with an amazing cover by one of my favorite people in the world. This is Dan Bones, who I miss dearly and haven't seen in forever because he lives in LA, and I don't know if the states would let me in right now because I have a medical condition where I keep saying free Palestine on the internet, and dang nabbit, I've done it again. And you know who doesn't like that? Border security. See ya.